What's the Church of Scientology so afraid of?
This is SPTV.
Welcome back, everybody. We got some more hot SPTV action coming at you tonight with my good friend Nora Ames. How's it going, Nora?
It's good. That just sounds so like lucid. I mean, I don't know. That sounds that sounds dirty. But yes, it's hot. It's hot goss. Yeah.
For those who don't know Nora's channel yet, you can subscribe to Nora on YouTube at Oh No Nora. Oh shit, I got a typo in there.
What did you write?
Oh wait, no, I don't. Wait,
no, you don't. That's me.
I thought I had a capitalization error, but I'm all good.
No, you put it right. It's Oh No Nora. That's it.
I grew up in a cult, but I know my capitalization rules.
No.
And this stream is streaming live on Nora's channel as well. So
yes,
that's coolio.
Come on over to the fun side.
Exactly.
Stream on there.
Okay, so we want to talk a little bit about Danny Masterson. We want to talk about a question I get all the time right now, which is what will happen? What will Scientology do now that Danny Masterson has been convicted on 2 counts and is going to do at least 30 years in prison? The questions are like, will Scientology declare him?
Right.
Will he turn on Scientology? Will his family members be able to visit? And, you know, I mean, I answer this question with my opinion every time it comes up, but many different people, many different opinions. I wanted to ask you your opinion. Do you think Danny Masterson is going to be declared a suppressive person now that he's going to prison?
Well, technically he should be, because he's brought a lot of shame on the church. Single-handedly, his case has allowed Scientological doctrine to be not only entered into the record in a case, in a high profile case, let's put it that way. It's not the only case where Scientological doctrine has been entered into, but in an extremely high profile case. But additionally, they lost. So yeah. That's the other thing. I mean, you know, as you and I both know, Scientology tends to not lose these cases. So they can say we've never lost a case. They settle. So what ends up happening, like in the case of like Laura DiCrescenzo versus the church, her case went many rounds. They deposed me for that case. And then after my deposition, shortly after my deposition, I found out they settled the case for undisclosed amounts of money. And I say good for Laura. She deserves all that money, however much she got. I don't begrudge that, you know, because they don't want to lose. They would have lost that terribly. And that would have set the precedent for many other people in the same boat as Laura. Who were suing for, you know, forced abortion and other things, you know, which would have set this case up. I would say it would have teed this up kind of nicely for the prosecution, you know, in a nice way. But because that case was settled, you know, they can't really talk about it. In terms of Scientological punishment, I found it interesting that in their public statement, as you pointed out rightfully, Karen Powell's signature is nowhere on there. What's up with my hat?
No, what's on your hat?
It's the PDX. It's the Timbers is our soccer team here.
What does PDX mean?
So PDX is Portland. It's the airport designation for Portland. But it's also like the slang that everybody uses. Like if they're like a lot of businesses here are like PDX something. But it's also the Portland, it's the guys soccer team here. This is their pride apparel. So I got the hat. Of course I had to get that merch for pride here. But I found it interesting also that like nobody signed that letter. Like zero people wanted to be associated with that letter. This very public statement from the church. Nobody could own it from the International Church of Scientology. Number one. Number two, they didn't say Danny's name at all in that statement. They just were like admonishing the very misogynistically, by the way, the judge for having, the gall to admit into evidence the church's own doctrine and use that against them. And then number two, to then use said doctrine to come to the conclusion that that is why these women were then prevented from doing the things that they should have been able to do legally. Like, how dare you? How dare you come to that conclusion from reading these things and realize that we, of course, are lying McLayersons and, are full of it. So, yeah.
So let me ask you a question real quick. So, okay, so your answer for why you thought Danny should be declared is very interesting.
Well, do you recall when we all had to make those internet websites when the internet was very, very new, and we were all like, I'm a Scientologist and my name is Joe, and everybody was like putting out those weird sauce fucking websites that were like, meet a Scientologist, and everybody was like being forced to go into the orgs and create those weird websites about themselves. Do you remember that in like the early, it was like right when, everybody could create their own website, and the church was having everybody do that via Earthlink, which was of course owned by Sky Dayton, a Scientologist, and everybody was creating these websites. Now, true story about the Mastersons, Danny Masterson's dad for a while was declared and then undeclared, and it, like in super bad standing, until he donated like bajillion dollars to the church. So the Masterson clan, while powerful, has also gone through its own like ebbs and flows in terms of Scientology. They were not allowed to create those websites, half of the Masterson clan, because not only like you found that whole dead file thing on Danny, I think his dad was already dead filed because like of this whole thing that he had gone through some financial hullabaloo stuff, because we knew that in Cece, like, hot dog with the dad Masterson, he was already in like bad standing and was being prevented from like doing a whole bunch of stuff because of like other weird sauce, early days, other things he had been involved in. So Masterson was already like kind of not the best name to be associated with in Scientology in general, but the only redeeming factor were Danny and Chris, because they were actors and because they were like bringing prestige to Scientology via that. Mm-hmm. And that's it.
Right. So actually, I just realized that in your answer, you said he should be declared because X, Y, and Z. But do you think that he will be?
I think so. In the same way that I've been, but I've never been shown it. And it depends on what Biju's going to do. It depends on what Biju's going to do. If she's going to be a good girl, and if she's going to do the church, stand by the church, then he'll get declared, and and it depends also what's going to happen at the sentencing, and if they're going to continue to try and fight it and appeal it. If they don't appeal it and he just gets sentenced and he's lost to the jails, absolutely he's been declared and he's been shuffled off. If they try to appeal and fight it and all this other hullabaloo, and Biju continues to show up in court, probably not declared. That would be the way I would judge it. If you see Biju less and he's just getting sentenced and going off to jail, I would say declared.
You mean that's how we'll be able to tell if he got declared?
Right.
But do you think Scientology has more to gain or to lose by declaring Danny? And do you think they will do it?
Do I think they have more to gain or lose? I think they should. I think they should see a bub, because it's not helping them any. But they hung on to Kirsty for years, so like she wasn't doing them any favors.
Hadn't committed any crimes for which she could be imprisoned, though.
This is true. I mean, Kirsty wasn't a criminal, but her brand of talking about Scientology obviously didn't bring any people in. I mean, she was cuckoo cuckoo towards the end. And, I feel for her as a human. She's gone now. And, Scientology didn't help her in any way, shape, or form. I mean, she died of a horrific cancer that went undiagnosed. As you and I both know, we've known many people who ended up in the same fate as her because they just didn't see doctors in enough time. So, will they declare him?
I think it's really interesting to get different points of view on this because I'll tell you why I thought that they wouldn't. And I think
why do you think they won't?
I think I heard Amy Scobie also say that she thinks that he will be, but I haven't had a chance to talk to her and get her rationale for it. So there's how many Mastersons are there? There's Jordan, there's Alana, there's Chris, there's Bijou, and you have Bijou's family, who I guess we're going to say they're not Scientologists, but they showed up. They showed up in court to support Danny.
I think they're supporting Bijou, but yeah, moving on.
And so, well, here's my rationale. He's already in prison, right?
Right.
Now technically, here's actually the first major point, and then we'll get some other points. Committing crimes that violate the laws of the land as opposed to violating the laws of Scientology.
Right.
We've seen time and time again, breaking the laws of the land that's not actually an automatic trigger to getting declared a suppressive person.
No, absolutely
not. You make a great point though. Doing something that causes Scientology to be dragged into it and the horrible PR, that's a declarable offense by any 100%. Measure.
Stop saying that. Yeah.
But he's already in prison, right? So is Scientology now going to do something that prohibits his family from visiting him, thereby giving Danny all the reason in the world to start running his mouth about Scientology? Do they really want to make an enemy out of him? Now, look, you could say that for everyone they've declared.
Right.
But that's still the question. For me, that's the thing. I go, there's no way they're going to declare him. They're going to declare him type B criminal so that he's obviously, I mean, that's the minimum. That's the minimum. I just figured they weren't going to do something that would ignite the fire.
Right. Like it's a catch-22 for them. Like, but ultimately, I think they will declare him and they will let him know at the same time, hey, bub, like you're screwed either way. So you can go ahead and try and run your mouth and we know everything. And if, we fought for you this time, but we have all of the receipts. So if you think that we're going to be on your side the next time for the next slew of women, they're going to come out of the woodwork and put another case up on your civil case, we might just let these folders go with all of the confessions that you came forward with. Or we could just lose them in a shredder. So the choice is yours. The choice is yours. Either you keep your mouth shut for the rest of your life, you say nothing about Scientology, and remember all the paperwork they had us sign anytime you say jack shit, they're going to make them sign all the disclosures.
So you're saying that if other charges are brought in the future by other women, one card that Scientology could play is we're actually going to order the Scientologist to testify against you.
Absolutely.
Because as it stands right now, Danny's probably not going to actually serve life. He'll serve 80% of whatever he gets.
Right.
I don't know. He's already 47. If he gets a 40-year sentence,
if he gets a 30-year sentence,
he'll get more than 30 years.
Right.
He'll get more than 30 years.
Let's say he gets 30. That's 77. That's still like life for somebody who's at 47. He's not going to see his children grow up. He's not going to see his grandkids. That's life. That's the rest of your life. That's the second half of your life. I'm in the prime of my life right now. I'm the same age as Danny. I am living the prime of my life right now. My oldest is graduating high school this Friday. So I'm at the prime point of my life right now. He's going to miss out. He's going to miss the best parts of his life. Absolutely. And as he deserves to for these crimes. However, that's what I think Scientology's play is 100%, because, I gotta stop saying that. But
what do you keep saying? What do you keep
100%.
saying? Oh, there's nothing wrong with that.
But I think that, that is what they do, because, you know, like when I left, they, you know, they took me to the HGB, and, you know, put me on camera, and, you know, like a room full of people with the big doc that, you know, anytime I spoke out, it was going to be $10,000 every time I said something. What do I owe them now? Bajillion dollars? I don't know. At this point, you know, and I, you know, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, whatever, I need to leave you. Thank you. Blah, you know, and I left. You know, none of that is actionable. It's so stupid. But they'll have him sign something like that, and he will just basically, you know, be like, okay, because when you're under duress, you will sign whatever, because you don't want to be under duress. And you know that this organization has you not only in writing, all these things have been written down, but they are, of course, unaware, all the celebrities, that there are multiple cameras and microphones in all of these auditing rooms, recording them without their consent, via audio and video, all of these sessions. So they have all of the receipts.
Oh, sure. For sure. By the way, a new victim has popped up on Twitter.
Who's that?
Well, the name hasn't been released yet, but one month ago, this was incredible. And I'll do a standalone video about this, but what are you doing?
I tried to move my ring light and now I messed it up.
You changed the camera input by accident.
I did.
Oh my God.
See, guys, don't ask me to do technical stuff.
Oh my God.
Oh, you guys, don't ask me to do things during the live. Now
it's not possible for you to. Well, it's not possible to move your ring light because you got one of those ones where your camera's right in the middle of it.
My camera's in the middle of it.
Just go back. Just go back to your other camera view.
I'm just gonna go. I'm gonna do this.
No. Do you know how to do it? Do you know? Oh, there you go.
I do, but I have to. I'm just gonna do this, and then I'm gonna put the ring light over
Bada
here.
bing! It looks great.
And then we're gonna do that.
That looks
great.
Now
you guys can just see me out of my computer.
That looks fantastic.
Jeez Louise, you guys. And then now I have to move my computer because
no, it was fine. It's actually even nice when it's off center like that. See, I'll go off center so we match.
It's fine. No. It just there was stuff in the background. That's all. Oh. God, you guys.
Here, I'll scoot up a little bit. I'll scoot up a little bit so we're more twinsies.
Are we twinsies? Good grief. I was trying to be fancy. See, my phone is mounted. The other phone is mounted.
Just leave it. Just leave it. It looks great.
I'm going to take it out because I don't want to see my stupid phone.
All right.
This live, guys. It's live. Crying in a bucket. Try to have nice lighting for you guys, and this is what
All right. What were we talking about?
I don't know now. I'm distracted.
Okay, live chat. Please tell us what thought who was in the middle of speaking. I don't remember who was saying what. So you really think that he will actually be declared? That's not what I was in the middle of saying. I was in the yes. I was either in the you were talking though, right? You were actually talking, or I was talking. Oh, the one of us was... Thank you, live chat. Yes. Okay, so I'll do a standalone video on this.
Oh yeah, the new victim's coming forward. Somebody else is coming forward.
4 weeks ago, someone on Twitter quote tweeted Danny Masterson, subtweeted and whatever, replied to his tweet.
Right.
And said, do you remember when you drugged, okay. When you roofied my friend and she named the club in Soho in New York. And she said in 2004. And she said, and the bouncers knew that you did it, which is why you were kicked out of the club.
Wow.
Now this was 2004, and here's why this is incredible. Jane Doe 1 is actually the one who pointed this out to me and said, back in 2004, this is actually why Jane Doe 1's father, when he was still alive in Scientology, was making such a stink about Danny not being handled, because he said, Danny could be out every single night doing this to someone else. And
he probably was.
And he had this penthouse in Tribeca, New York. And, he was splitting his time between LA and New York, I guess. And this is yet another person. Now, she didn't say that her friend was assaulted, because clearly there was an intervention. Someone saw the drink being spiked and they kicked him out. How many times did someone not catch the drink being spiked? And I spoke to Jane Doe 1 today, and she said here's the crazy thing. Here's what people don't understand. It's actually not the first. She said me and 3 non-Scientology girls were roofied at a party Danny was throwing for Wilmer Valderrama. And she goes, and I think it's because I drank a drink that was actually not meant for me. It was meant for someone else. And now she was not
insane.
Yes, so she was not a. Oh, by the way, we're colloquially using the word roofie, but the drug was GHB.
Right. That's the date rape drug. That's what they use.
And that drug was in vogue between 2000 and 2005 because it was used for something else. Like it wasn't. It was anyway. It was being used off label for essentially committing sexual assault. And so I guess actually now that I mentioned that, I shouldn't say it's another victim because she didn't get assaulted. But it's another instance of Danny intentionally trying to drug a woman. And that's a huge deal. That's a huge deal.
That's crazy sauce. What is it? Well, first of all, the fact that they're throwing, I mean, what's insane to me is that no one's talking about Wilmer. That's a whole other topic. Because he's a total groomer of underage girls. If you followed Demi Lovato at all, and, like he started grooming her when she was 16, and she sings a whole song about it now. That's a whole other thing. I mean, like the fact that Danny and Wilmer are like 2 peas in a pod, like throwing parties for each other, and he's like drugging women, and Wilmer is like grooming underage girls, and things like that. Not a shock. The shock is that Wilmer's not a Scientologist. Maybe he just couldn't get down with like throwing all his money away on that. What I don't understand is, this, I don't understand the need for the drugging aspect of it. I mean, in Scientology circles, let's put it this way. Danny was considered a hot commodity, at CC with the young second gens and with the girls that were like there. But he wasn't interested in anybody, in those circles. I think the other, second gen girls like Erica and Elizabeth honestly weren't giving him the time of day, and their parents were like, no. Or if they had dated him at some point, they broke it off right away. I don't know ever that occurred. So I'm not trying to start a rumor or anything like that. You're definitely not out of focus, Aaron. But yeah, I just feel like I don't know even where like this idea came from. Do you know what I mean? Like it's not something that's in Scientology. Yeah, that's the song, 29. He was 29, she was 17, and he also has the same age gap right now with his current girlfriend. Yeah.
So do you think Bijou will divorce Danny?
I hope so, but that's my personal thing on that. Like again, it's going to depend on what happens inside the church, and I'm sure the church is scrambling right now. It really is going to depend on what his status is going to be.
We'll see, but this goes back to why I think they won't. If they declare him, she has to divorce him.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
So
no doubt.
It won't be up to her. Like she's not going to choose to leave to stay married to someone who's going to be locked up for 30 years plus with no conjugal visits over everything else. So as far as I'm concerned, she's already going to divorce him. For me, it comes down to the family. You really think Scientology would put his whole family? I mean, there's like 30,000 Mastersons in Scientology. The Mastersons comprise half of all the Scientologists in greater LA.
Almost.
I mean,
Almost. Yeah.
they're one of the few successful Scientology actors. You know, Alana's working. I think Chris works. I don't know. Jordan, who knows? But
Chris
honestly,
hasn't worked in like a decade.
I
What
don't
is
know.
he on? Nothing.
What do I know? I grew up in a cult. I never watched that damn show.
Yeah.
You really think they're going to declare him though?
I absolutely think they are going to. What good is it to keep him? We've got a Scientologist in jail.
So just to keep
Like,
the rest of the rest of the Mastersons. That's my
they're gonna abandon him. Look what's happened to every other Scientologist who gets in the shit. He's in the shit. I mean, he's in the real Danny.
Who else?
He's
Who
in
else?
the absolute
Who else? You
shit.
said look at who else? Who else?
What? Okay, so let's look what happened to let's think of all the other people who've gotten into absolute shit. And when they get into, bad news bear situation.
I just give me an example. Give me an example.
I'm trying to think. I'm trying to think of like when people get into the shit, what happens to them.
So, okay, Reed Slatkin. Reed Slatkin is an example. Okay. Right. So I'm pretty sure he got declared, right? I mean, Reed Slatkin got declared, right?
Right. So his family's all fucking left him.
But did he have like did he have like a big, large Scientology family? He did?
He had a lot of family and friends. They're all gone.
Okay.
They left him. And he had, not only did he have family and friends, I mean, how many business contacts and everything else did he have? How many other people, hundreds of people were connected to Reed?
No, I know, but he went to prison. I don't care about the business contacts. I mean, once you're in prison for defrauding everyone who's invested with you, your business contacts don't care whether you get declared or not. They're going to disconnect from you regardless, right?
Right, but I'm talking about the Scientological business contacts because most of them, let's face it, were Scientological. They weren't all just regular business people who, business is business and they're like, oh, you went to jail, peace out. Like that's business. But I'm talking about Scientology people. Once someone is in jail, I'm trying to think of other Scientologists who've gone to jail. Okay. This is somebody. Well, I don't know if you remember Yasha Berenson.
Okay, Yasha's actually a good example. They didn't declare him.
Are you fucking kidding me?
They didn't declare Yasha.
Come on.
No, they did not declare him.
He got caught on To Catch a Predator.
They did not declare him. That's what I'm saying.
Showed up
because his mom
six-pack and condoms to fuck a minor, and they didn't declare his ass.
They did not declare him, but his mother was former WDC. His mother was in staff, and that's what I'm saying. They don't want to create for the same reason they didn't declare Jenna Miscavige, so that David Miscavige wouldn't have a type A situation.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Jenna Miscavige has never been declared.
No, that part I understood. See, and this is where the quadruple quintuple standard comes from. Okay, number one, Yasha Berenson. For those of you who don't know, Aaron and I were in the Sea Org with Yasha. I was on the RPF. Yasha was still working at PAC. He was not on the RPF, but he taught us electrical because he was an electrical journeyman. So and he's the reason why I got electrocuted and almost died. But he didn't get in trouble for that either. So that's another story for another time. However, when he left, and I don't know what under circumstances he left the Sea Org, but he left. And then the next thing I know, he's on To Catch a Predator because he's trying to meet up with some 13-year-old and make it a boom boom room with them, and then gets put in the jail. Okay, so then he doesn't get declared. Amazing. Went to jail. Okay, so the reason why Jenna didn't get declared is exactly what Aaron said, because she is the niece of David, Tiny Pants. And she wrote a whole damn book about her whole life, went on 60 Minutes, went on everybody, said the whole story, told about her whole life, as she should. It's a riveting story. No declare for her and her husband. Actually, I think her husband might be declared, Dallas. And his whole family disconnected. Was it his family? No, actually, I take that back. His family left, and now everybody's out. And the grandparents are out and stuff. Yeah. somehow her mom's out. I think, yeah.
Yeah, it was just this weird technicality where they told everybody
But
that
her
she was.
parents are declared.
Well, it was just where
His
they told
brother is declared.
it was just where they told everybody that she was guilty of suppressive acts and that everyone had to treat her according to the correct policy, but that there wasn't going to be a suppressive person
But
declared
his
issued on her.
brother, her father is declared.
How do you know?
That makes sense.
How do
Because
you
I
know?
think she told me that.
Oh yeah.
But she's not declared. I think she might be declared. But somehow they've just basically like erased her as a human being. Like that's just like, you know, like somehow David's not related to them. Like he's disconnected, so it doesn't count. In the same way that like Quentin was declared, but L. Ron Hubbard wasn't PTS type B.
Right.
Either. Because
type A.
You know, he's L Ron Hubbard.
Yeah.
And then his other son, who went to go speak out all the time, Junior, who changed his name to Ron DeWolf, that didn't make him, you know, PTS either, because he's L. Ron Hubbard.
Right. Okay. So do you think, I'm still going to go back to this.
And L. Ron Hubbard was a criminal before he even started Scientology. He was arrested.
I'm just still going to go back to this point of if they declare Danny and they make his wife divorce him and they make his family members disconnect from him and he's facing 30 plus years in prison.
Yes.
There's nothing to prevent Danny from starting to promote Scientology as the reason why he's so messed up, how they told him it was okay, how Scientology protects predators. Like he could be telling tales from prison.
I hope he writes a tell-all.
But does Scientology hope that he does that? No.
Of course they don't.
Right.
But I think they're going to threaten him within an inch of his life, you know, and try every intimidation tactic known to man, including, you know, threatening to remove his kids and do something horrible to Bijou and all this other stuff.
Yeah. So I'm seeing a lot of comments about this, and this is interesting because, well, it didn't occur to me that getting drugged is a type of assault, even if it doesn't end up in SA. That's interesting. So, yeah.
Absolutely. Because if you're getting a substance put into your body against your consent, that is assault.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay, let's tackle some of these comments that I haven't thrown up here yet. Did you see the Mars Volta band members shouting out the verdict? Abby, it's not just a Mars Volta band member. That is Jane Doe 3's husband, Cedric Bixler Zavala. And he testified in the trial. And yeah, he's a real passionate guy. Real cool guy.
Yes.
Okay, let's see. Russ Hampton. Russ, how you doing? Oh shit, I was supposed to call you today, Russ. Sorry about that. The day totally got away from me. Have more Scientologists left the church than actual ones remaining? Just curious. 100%. 100%. There's been throughout history approximately 400,000 Scientologists, and there are only there's less than 30,000 left.
Yeah.
So there's like less than 10%. Over 90% of the Scientologists that ever have been are no longer. So
that used to be the joke also around PAC, that there was always more ex-Sea Org members hanging around than there were actual Sea Org members at the base. And some of them were like public, you know? So yeah, absolutely. Yeah, for sure.
All right. Stacy, is there any chance he could get released like Bill Cosby? Nobody saw that coming, but it happened. I don't remember the details of how Bill Cosby got released.
I think Bill Cosby got released because he's old as hell. And
no, there was some technicality.
Also, they reviewed something, but also, let's be honest, I think it's because he's old as hell. And then his lawyers fought because he's like, he's old and he's dying and blah, blah, blah. And then there was some technicality and with a juror or something. They got, you know, they threw a legal loop-de-loop or something. But I honestly, I don't think so, because the prosecution did such a good job with the second trial. And the Scientology doctrine is just really kind of explicit in this matter.
All right, Calico 26 needs your thoughts on what the jury foreman thinks now that Danny Boy was found guilty. Also, did you watch the interview with T.O. and Danny's stepdad? Since I don't know what you're talking about on the last part, I'm going to say no.
With Tony Ortega and the stepdad. Tony did an interview with Danny's stepdad.
Who's that, Joe Reish?
Yeah.
Oh, hasn't he been declared for like a million years?
Yes.
Okay. And so you're talking about the jury foreman from the first jury. Yeah, I'm sure he feels like a total moron and even more of a stooge and a dupe. I mean, he
But did
probably would have felt
Scientology
vindicated.
get to him or something? Is that what happened in the first trial, or what happened there?
I don't know that Scientology got to him. I do know that he ended up after the trial. Oh, you remember what happened? His own son had been prosecuted successfully and convicted of sex crimes against children by the same unit of the DA's office that was prosecuting Danny. And he just chose not to reveal that. Also, there's a question in the jury questionnaire about having been a police officer or for any interactions with. Totally left that completely. No interact. He said his only interaction was like one time that he was stopped for something. He forgot to mention that he was a police officer. Anyway, so the fact is the guy had conflicts up the ass.
Does nobody do background checks on these people?
You're not allowed to do background checks. You're not even allowed to know. You're not allowed to know who the jurors are.
Television has lied to me all these years. Okay, anyway, moving on. Just kidding.
No, you're not allowed to do background checks on jurors.
I know, but that's what I'm saying. Like, you see that in shows sometimes. People are like doing, secret background checks and finding out about people to ask them questions.
Yeah.
I'm kidding. Yeah.
All right, next one here. Michelle Carpenter. Nora, happy Pride from a fellow subversive 1-1. Join the SPTV Discord server to chat with 50 plus now and growing fellow SPs and get notified of all SPTV live streams. Goldie has the link.
Yeah, I will get that link from Goldie. I'll see you guys there.
I'm just going to say it. I hate Discord.
I'm very new to Discord. I'll be honest. That's because my 14-year-old, who's non-binary, that's their main form of communication with their brands. That it's kind of like the one social media that I allow them because they are like all big on Discord and they just love to chit chat on.
I hate Discord because I can't figure it out. Like, nothing has made me feel older and dumber than Discord. Someone invited me to a Discord server and I clicked on it and I opened it up. I couldn't. It took me 10 minutes to figure out how to leave the thing. I couldn't figure out how to leave it.
I don't totally get it either. It's
constant notifications.
It's talking Reddit. I don't know. I don't understand it either. But it's I'll join and get in the pool and try and figure it out for sure. We're old now, Aaron.
Well, you're brave. You're braver than I am. So if you figure it out, holler at me.
I'll let you know.
All right, Jacob Harkey, since Masterson and the church are both defendants in the civil suit, I'd imagine it might look weird for the church to turn on him now. That's a great point, Jacob Harkey. When the criminal case revealed all that Scientology has done to support him so far. Dude, if they declare him now, he could help torpedo them in the other cases.
I'm telling you, but also I think that what Scientology is not predicting and what was obvious from their statement is that they have no clue what's coming for them in these other in the current civil suit. And now what I'm hopeful for is that what you've been hopeful for in the creation of your channel all these years ago, what we talked about years ago at that lunch that we had in Malibu, and what Leah's been doing and what everybody's been doing is that like people will just be like, who's been not talking, and people who you and I both know have stories and things that are still actionable, that are still like, we've been waiting for these people to speak up and know, hey, you could still have your moment and the church could still go down. This is what Danny's case is going to tell everyone else that's out there. I am hopeful that those people who have been silent will say, you know what, it's time. It's time for me to tell my story. It's time for me to call a lawyer, to do something, because there's no stopping the tidal wave now. And the end goal is simple, that they lose their 501c3 status. And my ultimate wish, if I had a wish, would be that all of their real estate assets are liquidated and all of that money is returned to current and former parishioners. And they're just like, it's just gone. That would be a wish. I don't know that that's going to happen. That's my personal wish. But
right.
Yeah.
All right. Benny D asks a very poignant question here.
No.
L. Ron Hubbard's wife was jailed. Was she declared? No.
No, she was not.
Declared.
She was put in a house in Hollywood that they bought for her, isolated away from everyone else.
But she wasn't imprisoned. I mean, they bought her a house.
She was under Scientological house arrest.
She wasn't confined to the house.
She was confined to the house.
She was not confined to the house.
She was confined to the house. She was never allowed back in another church for the rest of her life.
Well, not being allowed in an org isn't the same thing as being confined to a house.
She was not. She lived at the house. She did not, like, if you talk to Jamie DeWolf,
it was her home. She wasn't confined to it. She wasn't allowed in Scientology, but she wasn't declared.
Allowed in Scientology. She was not declared, but she wasn't allowed to, like, go places and shit. I mean, she could walk around the neighborhood. She walked around that neighborhood, the Hollywood neighborhood. She did her shopping, but she wasn't allowed to, like, live a life. You're
saying you don't think she had a car and wasn't able to travel or go places that she wanted to go?
Absolutely not.
For 40 years.
For 40 years, she would live there, and she was under, like, Scientological watch for the next 40 years. And, like, people, like, took care of her, and, like, no, she just was there. Like, that's it.
All right. I hadn't heard that before.
No, like, yeah. I mean, like, if you ask Jamie, like, they went and visited her and stuff, and it was
how would Jamie know?
Because he visited her a couple times. That was his grandmother.
Jamie DeWolf visited Mary Sue Hubbard.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. No, but she was, like, basically, that's why she just was there. She was just kept, and all eyes were to make sure. The reason why she was not allowed to go anywhere or do anything.
You're telling me Jamie DeWolf, whose father publicly attacked L. Ron Hubbard, and that Mary Sue Hubbard was still connected to the family members that had publicly attacked and humiliated Scientology.
Correct. She was still connected to her children because she wasn't allowed to talk about Scientology anymore. She wasn't allowed to talk to L. Ron Hubbard. She wasn't allowed to talk to anyone. This is why after Operation Snow White happened, she wasn't allowed to do anything. She's erased from history. Only the people who had ever interacted with her, like my mother and a few other people who had been in the GO because she was running the Guardian's office, even knew she had existed or had any form of footprint on Scientology as a whole.
I mean, she still had Seorg members.
They erased her.
She still had who was the Seorg member? That was her caretaker, basically.
I don't know the name of the person. I'm sure there was people that rotated through to take care of her. But
no, it was one guy. It was one main guy.
Yeah, but they took care of her. I mean, it was like, there was people assigned to help out and, make sure she had things and stuff until she passed. But yeah. And then when she passed, there was no funeral. There was no, like, hey, Mary Sue's passed. Let's salute the casket. Let's do the things. There was nothing.
Yeah. But she continued to be a loyal believer in L. Ron Hubbard and Scientology until the end. Even though she wasn't on lines. All right, fine. We'll table.
I don't know. We'll put That's a question mark.
Luz7, where can I read the Scientology statement? I don't know, like, what Google search it would show up under, but I did do a video called Scientology Issues Statement about Danny Masterson's conviction. And in that video, I go through the statement. So that's the only thing I could say.
They tweeted it out from their stupid.
Oh, is that what they did?
Hate monitor is their hate monitor. Because they're monitoring themselves.
All right, Russ Hampton, Ron, you should get some Aftermath business cards and send them to Danny in jail. Now that anyone can write him, that's actually a good idea.
We should actually write to him. He's at the LA County Jail. We should write to
him. Jennifer Kane Najor, thank you for your time and for sharing your thoughts and stories with us. Love this online community you all have created. Well, thank you, Jennifer. Very nice of you. Anand says, I know for a fact that they're not going to declare him. Oh, they truly believe he is innocent. It would also be acknowledging that Leah was right.
Yeah, that's one way to look at it. But Anand, I still think they're going to do it because he's going to be in jail for a long time.
We'll see. I hope we actually find out one way or the other, though. Like, I hope we do get some evidence that they've declared him. That would be interesting. John Sostovsky. It is spelled Sostowski, but it's pronounced Shamalama Ding Dong Ski. since Scientology is against homosexuality, do they believe a female comes back only as a female and a male only as a male? No, there's no rhyme or reason to this.
Well, yes and no. If you recall, Aaron, if you ever listened to the Freedom Congress, he does joke about that on the Freedom Congress, right?
Hold on, but let's just answer the question as it was asked. They do not believe that Thetans only come back as one gender.
That's not true. That's not true, because they believe that you purposely pick your body. So as a Thetan, you are in charge of the gender that you pick. So you are picking either the penis or the vulva. So you are purposely picking.
There's nothing in Scientology where L. Ron Hubbard said a Thetan lifetime after lifetime always picks the same gender.
That is not true. The Freedom Congress says that, and he makes the joke about it. He makes a joke because I don't.
Well,
Aaron,
then what was the joke?
You are not the gay.
Then
so
what was the joke he made? What was the joke?
To listen to it. So he says, so you're going along, and you're, and you're got your sword, and you're fighting, and one day you get run through with the sword, and then you wake up the next day, and you're in a girl body, and what are you supposed to do? Learn to cook? Because, of course, he's a misogynistic pig. And so...
Right. So that wasn't a joke. The joke was about women cooking, but he was saying that you pick up a woman body.
Right. And so then his whole thing about that was, if you wake up and you're in this woman body, what are you supposed to do when a lifetime after lifetime you've always been a man? It's basically like, you're supposed to suffer through being a woman that one time, but in the grand scheme of things, like he was explaining why sometimes you see like super masculine women and sometimes you see super feminine men.
Okay. He was
like trying to
explain. Look, Nora, I hear the story. I hear the story, and I take it a different way than you did. I take it that if a Thetan had picked up the same gender for like a dozen lifetimes in a row, then he'd be terribly confused the next time he picked up a female body. But I'm just saying, there's nothing in Scientology that says a Thetan through the eons always picks the same gender.
But they tell you over and over again that especially as a second gen, that you would purposely seek out a Scientology family and pick up that body. And also you could causatively know like that's going to be a male or female body and I'm going to pick that.
Sure.
Because you're OT, you know these things.
Well, sure, a Thetan is supposed to be able to do whatever they want to do, but there's nothing that says the reason homosexuality is frowned upon in Scientology is because Thetans are through the time track always pick up the same gender body.
Right, but that's part of it, and that's part of like that tape. But I know, see, this is where the interpretation comes in. But he was severely homophobic. I mean, there's no thing. There's no question about that.
But that's the thing. That's actually my point, though, is that the homophobia in Scientology isn't even consistent with the other beliefs about Thetans. It shouldn't even make sense.
No, it shouldn't matter.
It shouldn't even make sense. If you believe that the only thing that matters is the Thetan and that the body is relatively unimportant, homosexuality shouldn't be a problem in Scientology. Right. But he was so homophobic, he baked it in there anyway, even though there's kind of an inconsistency with it.
And he only ever refers to Thetans as he's.
That's true. That's true. He never says she.
No,
that's true.
Never.
All right. Eustacia03, off topic. Love to see you have Kate Bornstein on sometimes. Her stories from the early days of Scientology are wild. What's up with Kate Bornstein lately?
I need to reach out to Kate. I miss Kate. She's amazing. Kate was on the ship with LRH.
Have you ever met Kate?
Yes.
I've never met her.
Kate is amazing. Yeah.
Is she LA based?
No, Kate's on the East Coast.
She is?
Yeah.
Where? New York. Like, New Yorkish?
Upstate New York, yeah.
Really?
Yeah. She's in your time zone.
Wow. I wonder if she'd be interested in doing SPTV stuff. Like, just like being interviewed and stuff.
She's talked to Tony on his podcast. So
that's not SPTV stuff.
No, I know, but I'm saying she's not opposed to talking. So I think, I mean, cool. Kate is amazing. She's a gender pioneer, and she's definitely talked about Scientology. She's been disconnected from her daughter for many moons, and it would be lovely to facilitate that getting back together somehow.
Nice. Okay, Kevin says Scientology has nothing to gain by declaring Danny Masterson. I heard that Danny also has a decent case for appeal by a lawyer on YouTube relating to religious aspects of the second trial. Disapproved.
Here's the situation on that. Everybody wants to say whiny McWinerson about religion and it getting introduced and blah 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 blah. Scientology is not a religion, number one. Number two, their doctrine itself absolutely is admissible in court because it is a written word. It is, it's not private. It's also factual that it says these things. So it's not, it wasn't altered or anything else. And these are their policies. It was not changed in any way, shape, or form. So it's not like it was exaggerated or someone's opinion about the doctrine or the policies of Scientology. It's just silly to be, it's silly to debate whether or not like they have like religious freedom to be like, you can't talk about our religion because in the same way, it's the same way of saying like, well, the Catholic Church shouldn't have had to, pay out all that money to all those people in Boston for the pedophilia because they're a religion. That's just ridiculous.
Yeah. All right. Ryan says, imagine how much harm could come to other GHB victims that Danny didn't even get back to his predator den if they went separate ways. Oh, that's true. That's true. Someone who's in that sort of compromised situation could have been abused by someone else.
Absolutely.
Crazy. All right. Oz Brumby. Hasn't Davy Baby Miscavige been served with a subpoena to attend court? Which case, what happens if he does a no-show from Brisbane, Australia? So the case that Miscavige has been served in is the trafficking lawsuit brought by the Australian former Sea Org members. That case has been ordered to arbitration. So
what?
Yeah. Now there's an appeal. There's an appeal pending. But that is the case he's officially been served in. There are other lawsuits coming that we will learn about soon that Miscavige will be served in.
I'm mad about that case because I don't know how many times I shouted it out publicly and otherwise. Like I even tweeted the FBI and everyone's like, we can't find David Miscavige to serve him papers to show up for court. I'm like, bitch, go to these 3 places for the next event. He will be at the event to talk. And where was he? Oh, at a stage talking about Scientology. It's not hard to find this man. He shows up for all of the events to brag about himself. It's very easy to find him. Like it's not that hard. It's really stupid.
It's true. He's actually much easier to serve. Well, I'll reserve that thought for later. JP Stone, what do you think Miscavige thinks about all this? I feel like we've been discussing that all evening.
I think he is. Can I just say something? Like I've only had a couple interactions with David Miscavige in real life, and I don't know if you probably weren't there on the stairs with us, because when we were rehearsing for our big entrance during the launch, all the word clears were lined up on this stairwell. I don't know where the supervisors were, but the word clears were on this stairwell, and DM was walking past us with his like security entourage because he's always like surrounded like a Roman general, like with a diamond of people around him, right, guys? Just like huge men that are not Sea Org members, by the way. These are like hired ex-cops, like real security that costs tons of money. And so he's walking with all these people. And one of the word clears, I'm trying to remember what org this guy was from. He was some kid from some, class 5 outer org. He sneezed after DM walked by, after David Miscavige walked by. And David turned and like just gave him a glance, just an angry glance, and then kept walking. And then the security guard flipped back and grabbed that guy's arm and was like, "You're gone." And he was like, what do you mean? And he was like, "You need to leave right now." And he was like, but I was chosen to be part of this group and like walk out with all the senior CSs and like, be part of this entrance for the thing. And he's like, "Nope, not anymore. You're gone." He's like, you need to leave. And that was it. Like all he did was sneeze because now he's PTS near David Miscavige.
Oh, I get it. Yeah. Yeah. Miscavige is pretty pissed. We can definitely say that. Pejkt. I love every time Pejkt comments. Actually, that sounds like the sneeze next to Miscavige right there. Okay. I think we need another medium to contact Shelly to get confirmation of her heavenly.
That was
location.
insane.
No. Someone sent me a link last night or this morning to the same medium 5 years ago, did an interview with L. Ron Hubbard.
No.
I don't have the patience to go through it. But yes, actual interview with L. Ron Hubbard. Actually, I probably should go through it.
Can we do that together? That will be insane. I love it.
Yeah, we should do that.
Oh my God.
Anon says, if he gets declared, it would create an army of Scientologists who disagree, including my family. Uh-oh.
Let's do it. Let's
There's
get him declared.
Literally no way unless he turns on Scientology. Okay, that's
now, Anon, is this a good thing? Do we want your family to disagree? Are you disagreeing? Do you want to disagree? I have so many questions for you. Oh my God.
Wait, disagree with him being declared? Is what? So I'm gonna. My understanding is Anon's family is still Anon's under the radar. His family's still a true believer.
I'm getting that, but I have so many questions. Oh my God, I am intrigued.
Okay, Jocelyn Sheasley. There you go, Aaron. I spent 20 minutes trying to log out of my. I spent 20 minutes trying to log out of my 13-year-old's Discord account today, so you're not alone. Also, Nora, thank you for making me laugh. You're both awesome. 100%. 100%. 100. In fact, we should just have mugs just says 100%. 100%. 100%. Oh my God. Corbett Williams, they can put a little sign outside the prison reading Celebrity Center.
It's going to be like his on his chow, the chow line. Just for him. VIP
just right over his cell. Celebrity Center.
He's gonna get a tramp stamp that says VIP address.
President's office. Enter in the rear. Oh! Oh no.
It's been
okay.
Bad.
Eat more pizza. Eat more pizza now. With the cult needing money, I would think they would all be welcomed. Yeah. I mean, you would think. Everyone is welcome. I mean, it's a little harder to welcome you when you're in prison for 30 years. But yeah.
I mean, they might take him back. Here's the deal. You can, once you're declared, it doesn't mean you're gone forever. You can do the steps called A to E, or is it AJ?
A to E is getting undeclared.
Right. A to E is getting undeclared. So you can do the steps A to E. And I don't know why it's those steps, but anyway, that's just whatever. Thank you, DJ. You could do A to E and get undeclared. So it's not all is lost. You can always come back into the fold, guys. So yeah. That's why I think he'll get declared, because there's always like the undo button.
Yeah, totally. All right. Well, hey, we made it through another one, Nora.
We did. We always do.
Everyone in the chat thinks we're fighting and hate each other.
What? We are not, guys. You guys. Oh my God. Okay. True story. If you guys ever saw us at a restaurant, we have to be in a far, far away corner because we are so loud in real life. People turn around and stare at us like, what is happening over there? We are so loud together. Because we're having such a good time. We are never fighting. Aaron and I love each other, and we give each other the biggest bear hug in the real lives. So don't even ever. We are the best. We are never
absolutely
fighting. Never.
Absolutely.
Oh my God, you guys.
All right. Thanks for hanging out with us this evening. Thanks for watching. Thanks everyone who watches until the very end. We'll talk to you soon.
Okay, if you want to see my rock and roll songs, click right on this guitar. And if you want to see a different one of my videos, then you could click right inside here. If you have subscribed or not, subscribe right here. Bye.